Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read Daniel 1-6, Proverbs 19, and Psalm 54. Let's get started. In the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, and some of the vessels of the house of the Lord. And he brought them to the land of Shinar, to the house of his God, and he hid their vessels in the sanctuary, in the treasury of his God. And the king commanded Ashpenaz, the chief eunuch, to bring some of the people of Israel, both of the royal family and of the nobility, used without blemish, of good appearance and skillful in all wisdom, endowed with knowledge, and not understanding, learning, and competent to stand in the king's house, and to teach them the literature and language of the Chaldeans. The king assigned them a daily portion of the food that he ate, and of the wine that he drank, and they were to be educated for 3 years. And at the end of the time they were to stand before the king. Among these were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, Tisaniah, tribe of Judah, and the chief of the eunuchs gave them names. Daniel he called Belshazzar, Hananiah he called Shadrach, Mishael he called Meshach, and Azariah he called Abednego. But Daniel resolved that he would not fill himself with the king's food, or with the wine they drank. Therefore he would not ask the chief of the eunuchs to allow him not to fill himself. And God gave David favor and compassion in the sight of the Lord, chief of the eunuchs. And the chief of the eunuchs said to Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who assigned your food and your drink. Why should he see that you are in worse condition than the youths who are of your own age? So you would endanger my hair with the king. And Daniel said to his steward, whom the chief of the eunuchs had assigned over Daniel, to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, has your servants 10 days. Let us be given vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our appearances and the appearance of the youths who eat the king's food be observed by, and deal with their servants according to what you see. So he listened to them in this manner and tested them for 10 days. At the end of 10 days, it was seen that they were better in appearance and fatter in flesh than all the youths who ate the king's food. So the steward took away their food and the wine that they were to drink, and gave them vegetables. And as for the 4 youths, God gave them learning and skill in all literature and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. And at the end of the time, when the king had commanded that they should be brought in, the chief of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. And the king spake with them, and amongst all of them none was found like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore they stood before the king, and in every matter of wisdom and understanding about which the king wanted them. And he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters that were in all his kingdom. And Daniel was there until the first year of King Cyrus. In the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar had betrayed. His fear was troubled, and his sleep left him. And the king commanded that the magicians, the enchanters, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans be summoned to tell the king's dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said to them, I had a dream, and my spirit struggled to know the dream. And the Chaldean said to the king in Aramaic, O king, live forever. Tell your servant the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, why show me his friend? If you don't mean then to meet the dream and its interpretation, you shall be torn from them to problem, and your house shall be laid in bones. If you show the dream and its interpretation, you shall receive from me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore showing the dream and its interpretation, he answered the second time and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and will show its interpretation. The king answered and said, I know with certainty that you are trying to gain time, because you see that the word for me is found. If you do not make the dream known to me, there is but one sentence for you. You have agreed to seek lying and corrupt words before me until times change. And therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that you will show me its interpretation. The Chaldeans answered the king, saying, there is not a man on earth who can meet the king's command, for no great and powerful kings are such things or any magician or enchanter or Chaldean. The thing that the king asks is difficult, and no one can show it to the king except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh. Because of this the king was angry and very furious, and he commanded that all the wise men of Babylon be destroyed. And the decree went out, and the wise men were about to kill. And they sought David and his companions to kill them. And Daniel replied with prudence and discretion to Ariel, the captain of the king's guard, who had gone out to kill the wise men of Babylon. He declared to Ariel, the king's captain, why is this decree of the king so urgent? And Ariel made the matter known to Daniel. And Daniel went and requested the king to appoint a man of time, and he might show the interpretation to the king. And Daniel went to his house and made the matter known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah his companions. and he told them to seek mercy from the God of heaven concerning this mystery, so that Daniel and his companions might not be destroyed with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then the mystery was revealed to Daniel in a vision of the night, and Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, to whom belong wisdom and might. He changes times and seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who understand. He reveals deep and hidden things, and you know what it is in the darkness, and light dwells with it. To you, God, my Father, I give thanks and praise, for you have given me wisdom and light, and you have now made known to me what we asked of you. You have made known to us the king's plan. Therefore Daniel went into error, and the king had appointed to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus to him, You destroy the wise men of Babylon, bring me in before the king, and I will show the king the interpretation. And Aaron brought Daniel before the king, and hastened said thus to him, I have found among the exiles from Judah a man who will make known to the king the interpretation. The king declared to Daniel, whose name is Belteshazzar, are ye able to make known to me the dream that I have seen in interpretation? Daniel answered the king and said, No wise men, enchanters, magicians, or astrologers can show to the king the mystery that the king has asked for. There is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries, and he has made known to King Nebuchadnezzar what will be in the last days. Your dream and the vision will be heard as you lay in bed. As you lay in bed of these. To your king, as you lay in bed, the king thought of what would be after this. And he who reveals mysteries has made known to you what is to be. But as for me, this mystery has been revealed to me, not because of my interpretation, not because of any wisdom that I have more than all to live, and nor that the interpretation may be made known to the king, that you may know the thoughts of your mind. He saw a king, and behold, a great image. This image, mighty and of exceeding brightness, stood before you, and its appearance was frightening. The head of this image was of fine gold, his chest and arms of silver, his middle and thighs of bronze, his legs of iron, his feet partly of iron and partly of clay. As he looked, a stone was cut out by no human hand. He struck the image on his feet of iron and clay, and broke them in pieces. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold altogether were broken in pieces, and became like the chaff of the sun of threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, so that not a trace of them could be found. As the stone that struck the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This was the dream. Now I will tell the king its interpretation. You, O king, the king of kings, to whom the Lord God of heaven has given the king, who found the might and the glory, and to whose hand he has given, wherever they draw, the children of man, the beasts of the field, and the birds of the heaven, and you are making your rule over them all. You are the head of God. And another kingdom, inferiority, shall rise after you, and yet a third kingdom of once. It shall rule over all the earth, and it shall be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, because iron breaks to pieces, and shatters all things. And like iron that crushes, it shall break and crush all these. And as you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, it shall be a divided kingdom, but some of the firmness of iron shall be in it, just as you saw iron mixed with the soft clay. And as the toes of the feet were partly iron and partly clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly brittle. And as you saw the iron mixed with soft clay, so they will mix with one another in marriage, and they will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with clay. And the days of those kings, the God of heaven will serve a kingdom, they shall never be destroyed. Nor shall the kingdom be left to another people. And it shall break in pieces all the kingdoms and bring them to an end. And it shall stand forever, just as you saw that a stone was cut from a mountain by no human hand, and that it broke in pieces the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold. A great God has made known to the king what shall be after this. The dream is certain, and its interpretation sure. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and paid homage to Daniel, and commanded an offering and incense be offered up to him. The king answered and said to Daniel, Truly your God is God of gods, and Lord of kings, and a revealer of mysteries, for you have been able to reveal this mystery. And the king gave Daniel high honors and many great gifts, and made him ruler of the whole province of Babylon, and the chief prefect over all the wise men of Babylon. David made a request of the king, and he appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. And Daniel remained at the king's court. He Nebuchadnezzar made an image of God. His height was 60 cubits, and his breadth 6 cubits. He set it up on the plain of Judah and the province of Babylon. And King Nebuchadnezzar sent together the satraps, the prefects, and the governors, the councillors, the treasurers, the justices, the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces to come to Babylon to the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And the satraps, the prefects, and the governors, the councillors, the treasurers, the justices, the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces gathered for the dedication of the image. And that King Nebuchadnezzar set up. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be cast into a burning fiery furnace. And for as soon as all the peoples heard the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, bagpipe, and every kind of music, all the peoples, nations, and languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. However, at the time, certain Chaldeans came forward and maliciously accused the Jews, and declared to King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. O king, you, O king, have made a decree that every man who hears the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, bagpipe, and every kind of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into a burning fiery furnace. Now certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye men are king, and have paid no attention to you. You do not serve your gods, or worship the golden image that you have set up. And then Nebuchadnezzar, in furious rage, commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought. So they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said to them, It is true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the golden image that I set up. Now if you are ready, when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, bagpipe, and every kind of music, to fall down and worship the image that I have made, well and good. And if you do not worship, you shall immediately be cast into a burning fiery furnace. And who is the God who will deliver you out of my hand? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you this matter. If this will be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from a burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, it will be known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you serve. And Nebuchadnezzar was filled with fury, and the expression of his face was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He went the furnace heated 7 times more than it was usually heated, and he was sent the mighty men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into a burning fiery furnace. And these men were bound in their cloaks, their tunics, their hats, and their other garments, and they were thrown into the burning fiery furnace. This the king's order was urgent, and the furnace overheated. The flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell bound into the burning fiery furnace. And King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up in haste. And he declared to his councillors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire? He answered and said to the king, Sure, king. He answered and said, But I see 4 men unbound, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the appearance of that 4th is like the son of the gods. And Nebuchadnezzar came near to the door of the burning fire furnace. He declared, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out and come here. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out from the fire. And the satraps, the prefects, the governors, and the king's councillors gathered together and saw that the fire had not had any power over the bodies of those men. Their heads was not singed, their clothes were not whole, and no smell of fire had come upon them. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel and delivered us out. We trusted in him, and so served the king's slave. And then you up their bodies rather than serve, and worship any God except their own God. Therefore I make a decree, any Hebrew nation or language that speaks anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be torn from them to limb from them, and their house laid in ruins. Now there is no other God who is able to rescue in this way. And the king removed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar to all the peoples, like nations, and language, and to all the earth, peace be multiplied to you. It seemed good to me to show the signs and wonders that the Most High God has done for me. How great are his signs, how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting king, and his dominion endures from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at ease in my house and prospering in my palace. I saw a dream that made me afraid. As I lay in bed, the fantasies and the visions of my head alarmed me. So I made a decree that all the wise men of Babylon were rebuilt before me, that they might make known to me the interpretation of the dream. And the magicians, the enchanters, the Chaldeans, and the astrologers came, and I told them the dream, that they could not make known to me its interpretation. And last Daniel came in before me, he who was named Belshazzar, after the name Michael, and in whom is the spirit of the Holy Ghost. And I told him the dream, saying, O Belshazzar, the chief of the magicians, because I know that swear by holy gods is in the end, that no mystery is too difficult for you. Tell me the visions of my dream. They saw and they interpreted the visions of my head, and as I lay in bed with these, I saw and behold a tree in the midst of the earth, and its height was great. Its ground became strong, and its top reached to heaven, and it was visible to the end of the whole earth. Its leaves were beautiful, and its fruit abundant, and it was free for all. And the beasts of the field were found shade under, and the birds of the heavens lived in its branches, and no flesh was fed from it. And I saw in the visions of my head as I lay in bed, and behold, a watcher, a holy one. I came down from heaven. He proclaimed it loud and said thus, chop down the tree and lop off its branches, strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the beasts flee from under it, and the birds from its branches. And leave the stump of its roots in the earth, bound with the band of iron and bronze. And I made the tender grass of the field. Let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and his portion be with the beasts in the grass of the earth. Let his mind be changed from man's, and let a beast's mind be given to and let 7 periods of time pass over. The sentence is by the decree of the watchers, a decision by the word of the Holy One. The end of the living may know that the Most High rules the kingdom of men and gives it to him. He will and sets over the lowliest of men. This dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, saw, and you, O Belshazzar, tell me the interpretation, because all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to make known to me the interpretation, but you are able, for the spirit of the holy gods in me. And then Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, was dismayed for a while, and his thoughts alarmed me. And the king answered and said, Belshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation alarm you. Belshazzar answered and said, My lord, may the dream be for those who hate you, and its interpretation for your enemies. And the tree saw which ground became strong, so that its top reached heaven, and it was visible to the end of the whole earth, whose leaves were beautiful, and its fruit abundant, and which was fruitful, and which beasts of the field found shade, and in whose branches the birds of the heavens lived. It is you, King, who have grown and become strong, and greatness has grown and reaches to heaven, and your dominion to the ends of the earth. And as the king saw a holy one coming down from heaven, and saying, chop down the tree and destroy it, and leave the stump of its roots in the earth, and with the band of iron and bronze, and tend the grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and his portion be with the beasts of the field. Till 7 periods of time pass over it. This is the interpretation of the king. He is to create and it should come on my lord the king, that you shall be driven from among men, and that in your dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. You shall be made to eat grass like the dogs, and you shall be wet with the dew of heaven. And 7 periods of time shall pass over you, till you know that the Most High rules over the kingdom of men, and gives it to whom he will. And as it was commanded to leave the stump of the roots of the tree, your kingdom shall be confirmed for you from the time that you know that heaven rules. Therefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable to you. Break off your sins by practicing righteousness, and your iniquities by showing mercy to your oppressed. There may perhaps be a lengthening of your prosperity. All this came upon King Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of the 12 months, he was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon, and the king answered and said, Is not this great Babylon which I built by my mighty power, as a royal residence, and for the glory of my majesty? All the words were still in the king's mouth. Then fell a voice from heaven, O king Nebuchadnezzar, to you is spoken, the kingdom has departed from you, and you shall be driven from among men. And your dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, and you shall be made to eat grass like an ox. And 7 periods of time shall pass over you, until you know that the Most High rules the kingdom, and gives it to whom he will. And immediately the word was fulfilled against Nebuchadnezzar. He was driven from among men, and ate grass like an ox, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hair grew as long as eagle's feathers, and his nails were like birds' claws. At the end of the days, I, in a wickedness, lifted up my eyes to heaven, and my reason returned to me. And I blessed the Most High, and I blessed and praise on him who lives forever. And his dominion is an everlasting dominion. His kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the inhabitants of the earth are counted as nothing, being thus according to his will among the hosts of heaven, and among the inhabitants of the earth. And none can stay his hand or say to him, what have you done? At the same time my reason returned to me, and for the glory of my kingdom, my majesty and splendor returned to me. My counselors and the Lord sought me, and I was establishing my kingdom, and still more greatness was added to me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol the honor the King of heaven, for all his works are right and his ways are just, and those who walk in his pride he is able to humble. And King Belshazzar made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine in front of the 1,000. Belshazzar, when he tasted the wine, commanded that the vessels of the gold and silver that Nebuchadnezzar his father had taken out of the temple in Jerusalem, he brought the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines might drink from them. And they brought in the golden vessels that had been taken out of the temple, as the God in Jerusalem. And the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines drank from them, and they drank wine and praised the gods of gold and silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. And immediately the fingers of a human hand appeared and were on the plaster of the wall of the king's house, opposite the lampstand. And the king saw the hand as it were, and the king's color changed, and his thoughts alarmed, and his limbs gave way, his knees knocked together. And the king called loudly to bring in the enchanters, the charmers, and the astrologers. And the king declared to the wise men of Babel, whoever reads this writing and shows me this interpretation shall be clothed in purple and have a chain of gold around his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. And all the king's wise men came, but they could not read the writing or make known to the king the interpretation. And King Belshazzar was greatly alarmed, and his color changed, and his lords were perplexed. The queen, because the words of the king and his lord, came into the banqueting hall, and the queen declared, O king, live forever. Take not your thoughts about me, all your color changed. Is there a man in your kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy God? The days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods were found him. The king Nebuchadnezzar, your father, he, the king, him chief of the magicians, enchanters, Chaldeans, and astrologers, because of an excellent spirit, knowledge and understanding to interpret dreams, explain riddles, and solve problems were found this thing, whom the king Belshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation. And Daniel was brought in before the king. The king answered and said to Daniel, you are that Daniel, one of the exiles of Judah, and the king my father brought from Judah. I have heard of you, the spirit of the gods is in you, and that light of understanding and excellent wisdom are found in you. And the wise men, the enchanters, have been brought in before me to read this writing and make known to me its interpretation. They cannot show the interpretation of this matter. For I have heard that you can give interpretations and solve problems. Now if you complete the writing, read the writing, and make known to me its interpretation, you shall be clothed with purple and have a chain of gold around your neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. And Daniel answered and said before the king, let your gifts be for yourself, and give your rewards to another. Nevertheless, I will read the writing to the king, and make it known to him the interpretation. O king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar your father kingship, and greatness and glory and majesty, and because of the greatness they gave him, all people of nations and languages trembled and feared before whom he would he kill, and whom he would he kept alive. Whom he would he raised up, and whom he would he humbled. And when his heart was lifted up, and his spirit was hardened, so that he dealt proudly, he was brought down from his kingly throne, and his glory was taken from him. He was driven from among the children of mankind, and his mind was like that of a beast, and his dwelling was with the wild donkey. And the Most High God rules the kingdom of mankind, and sets over whom he will. And you, his son Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart, although you knew all this, that you have lifted up yourself against the Lord of heaven, and the vessels of his house have been brought in before you. And you and your lord, and your wife, and your concubines have drunk wine from it. And you praise the gods of silver, of gold, of bronze, iron, wood, and stone, but you do not see or hear or know, that the God in whose hand is your power, and in whose eye all your ways, and you have not honored. And from his presence the hand was sent, and his writing was inscribed. And this is the writing that was inscribed: Mene, Mene, Tekel, and Parsin. This is the interpretation of the matter. God has numbered the days of your kingdom and brought it to an end. Tackle, ye have been weighed in the balances and found wanting. Perish, your kingdom will be divided and given to the Medes and Persians. And Belshazzar gave the command, and Daniel was clothed with purple, and a chain of gold was put around his neck, and a proclamation was made around him, and he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. That very night, Belshazzar the Chaldean the king was killed, and Darius the Mede received the kingdom, being about 62 years old. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 satraps, to be throughout the whole kingdom, and over them the three high officials, of whom Daniel was one, to whom these satraps should give account, so that the king might suffer no loss. And this Daniel became distinguished above all the other high officials and satraps, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king planned to set him over the whole kingdom. And the high officials and the satraps sought to find ground for complaint against Daniel with regard to the king, and they could find no ground for complaint or any fault, because he was faithful, and that no error or fault was found in him. And these men said, we shall not find any ground for complaint against this Daniel, unless we find it in connection with the law of your God, the law of his God. And these high officials and satraps came by agreement to the king, such that the king Darius live forever. All the high officials of the kingdom, prefects and the satraps, the councillors and the governors, are agreed that the king should establish an ordinance and enforce an injunction, that whoever makes petition to any god or man for 30 days, except to you, king, shall be cast into eternal lions. Now, king, establish the injunction and sign the document, so that it cannot be changed, according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, and cannot be revoked. Therefore, King Darius signed the document and injunction, and Daniel knew that the document had been signed. He went to his house where he had windows in his upper chamber open to his ward Jerusalem. He got down on his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God. And as he had done previously, then these men came by again and found Daniel making petition and plea before his God. And they came here and sent before the king concerning the injunction. O king, did you not sign an injunction that anyone who makes petition to any god or man within 30 days, except you, O king, shall be cast into eternal lives? The king answered and said, the king stands fast according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which cannot be revoked. And then they answered and said before the king, Daniel, who was one of the exiles from Judah, pays no attention to you, king, and all of the injunctions that you sign, and makes his petition 3 times a day. And the king who heard these words was much distressed and set his mind to deliver Daniel, and he labored till the sun went down to rescue him. And these men came by agreement to the king and said to the king, Amen. Know that it is the law of the Medes of the Persians and no injunction or ordinance that the king establishes can be changed. And the king ran it, and Daniel was brought and cast into the 10 lions. And the king declared to Daniel, your God, who you so continue to deliver you and establish by him, will aid on the mouth of the dead. And the king sealed it with his own signet, and the signet of his law, that nothing might be changed concerning Daniel. And the king went to his palace and sent the night fasting. No diversions were brought to him, and sleep fled from him. And at the break of day, the king arose and went in haste to the 10 lions. And as he came near to the dead, where Daniel was, he cried out in a tone of anguish. The king declared to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God whom you serve continually been able to deliver you from the lions? And Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, and they have not harmed me, because I was found blameless before them. And I said before you, O king, I have done no harm. Then the king was exceedingly glad, and commanded that Daniel be taken up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no kind of harm was found who had malicious found him, because he trusted in his God. And the king commanded, and those men who had maliciously accused Daniel were brought and cast into the lions, they, their children, and their wives. And all they reached one another. The lions overpowered them and broke all their bones in pieces. King Darius read to all the Hebrews, nations and languages, and dwell in all the earth. He shall multiply to you, and make a decree that in all thy world dominion he pour out to tremble, and fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God, enduring forever. His kingdom shall never be destroyed, his dominion shall be to the end. He delivers and rescues, he works signs and wonders in heaven and on earth. He received Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Proverbs 19. Better is a poor person who walks in his integrity than one who is good in his speech and is a fool. A desire without knowledge is not good, and whoever makes haste with his feet misses the way. And a man's folly brings his way to ruin, his heart rages against the Lord. Wealth brings many new friends, but a poor man is deserted by his friend. And false witness will not go unpunished. And everyone is a friend to a man who gives gifts. All poor man's brothers hate him. How much more do his friends go far from him? He pursues them with words but doesn't have. Never gets sense, love is his answer. He keeps understanding which is going. False witness will not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies will perish. It is not fitting for a fool to live in luxury, much less for a slave to rule over princes. Good sense makes one slave to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense. The king's wrath is like a ground over the lion, and his favor is like dew in the grass. A wise son is a ruin to swell, and a wise quality is a continual dripping of rain. House and wealth are inherited from father. A prudent wife is from the Lord. Slothfulness casts into it deeply, and a idle person will suffer hunger. Whoever keeps the commandment will keep his life. He who destroys his face will die. Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord. You will pay him for his deed. It is when you shout for their sake. Do not say your harm, putting him to death. A man of great wrath will pay the penalty, for if you deliver him, you will only have to do it again. Listen to advice and accept instruction, that you may gain wisdom into the future. Then you have the plans in the mind of a man. It is the purposes of the Lord that will stand. What is desired in a man is steadfast love, and a poor man is better than a lion. Who feareth the Lord least in life, and whoever has the rest of his life, he will not be visited by hunger. Like buries his hand in the dish. He will not even bring it back to his mouth. Strike a scholar, and the simple will learn prudence. Who will prove a man of understanding, he will gain knowledge. And he who does violence to his father and chases away his mother, his son who brings shame and reproach. Cease to instruction, my son, and you will stray from the words of knowledge. A worthless witness mocks at justice, and the mouth of the wicked devours iniquity. Condemnation is ready for scoffers, and a beating for the backs of fools. Psalm 54. O God, save me by your name, and vindicate me by your might. O God, hear my prayer, give ear to the words of my mouth. Strangers have risen against me, ruthless men seek my life. He does not set God before themselves, for behold, God is my help. The Lord is the upholder of my life. He will turn the evil to my enemies. In your faithfulness put an end to them. With a freewill offering I will sacrifice to you. I will give thanks to your name, my Lord, for it is good, for he has delivered me from every trouble, and my eyes looked in triumph on my enemies. Now this foundation, I do the Lord's prayer. Place my hands, O Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we also forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.